Hello, everyone. Welcome back to yet another political episode. All right, we have our last contest, and that is the state of Washington. We'll be taking a look at the state of Washington and the primary results that they have performed in both Democratic and Republican primaries. I wouldn't say this is a good one for Republicans, honestly, and we'll get there in a little bit. But let's take a look at the turnout in the primaries in when it comes to the Democrats. We have Joe Biden at 84.1%. Just 735,000 people came out and voted. That's actually really good. And kind of impressive, seeing that Joe Biden is basically running against an uncommitted opponent. Only 85,000 people went out and voted in this election. So yeah, I think turnout for Democrats for once is very good, according to this. You'll have, initially, Marianne Williamson only got 2.8%. It's time for her to drop out. I don't know why she's still in. Let's see if she's still in this to win this. Presumptive nominee, other declared nominees. Yeah, Jason Palmer and Marianne Williamson need to drop out. Like, seriously. They cannot win this. How many delegates has Palmer won? 3. How many delegates have Williamson won? 0. So really, this was Marianne Williamson's getting nothing. She's just getting her name recognition. And honestly, that's not how you get your name recognition. Marianne Williamson needs to seek public office that's not the president. Like, for instance, she could run as a state representative. She could even, as you know, I would say state representative, state senator in that sort of area, U.S. representative in her state of California. That's what she can do. She wants to jump all the way to a high-level entry, and she is an author. I'll give her this much. She can take down Dean Phillips, who is a U.S. representative. It's just kind of funny. But obviously, her ego has gotten very big thanks to her thinking, we're going to go and I'm going to take down Joe Biden. And like, okay, yeah, you got 329,000 people voting for you. 3.3% of the popular vote. Good for you, I guess. And compared to Jason Palmer, barely getting 5,841 people. That's a lot. So let's take a look at the Washington results here. So look at this. We have 84.1% of the popular vote. You'll see every county. This county especially went in for Joe Biden. But this county over here went for Biden for 70%. We'll kind of take a look at those counties. Clallam County. This is, I want to believe, it's a more of a swing county. I don't think people live there. It's only 77,000 people. That's not really a lot of people living in Clallam County, and this isn't really influenced by the metro of Seattle. This is more influenced by maybe the coasts, I would say. This is entirely a coastal county except for the south area. But yeah, this county is definitely more of a swing. Let's take a look at this county down here. It's kind of lighter. Let's see. Yakima County. 256,000 people. That's definitely as a city, and actually, it's more conservative. 52.56%. Has been voting Republican ever since 1968. The last time this county voted for Democrats was in 1964. So I would say this does give the Washington GOP a good hold. And then again, Washington is a state geographically lopsided. People that live with the west towards the east of the Cascades are usually more conservative. People that live the west of the Cascades are usually more liberal. And this county just happens to be like smack I would say mostly towards the west. It does mix mostly towards the east, excuse me. That is actually more conservative. It's mostly rural countryside of other than the city of Yakima, which does hold over 96,000 people. That is a good population. And of course, you got other cities around. Without a moment of said, we got 84% of the popular vote in. 111 delegates pledged. We have 92 pledged, 19 unpledged. So Biden cranking up the delegates so far. Let's take a look at. So I want to read. This caught my eye. Campaign for uncommitted delegates. Of course, this has to do with the Israel Hamas war protest vote movements, which I find very interesting. If you honestly, I'm going to tell you, Minnesota deserved more attention. I'm not gonna lie. The uncommitted received their biggest victory in Minnesota. And being a Minnesota, I'm going to be completely biased. So after a push for Michigan Democratic primary votes to vote for the uncommitted delegates option, gathered over 1,000 votes in protest in President Biden's handling of the Israel-Hamas war. Momentum for Washington voters by activists and politicians to also select the uncommitted delegates option has begun quickly growing, and they did not do a good job. I mean, they only got 85,000 people, which is actually better than Minnesota, believe it or not, but they got no delegates, unfortunately. So I would say if you don't get a delegate or something out of it, this was a defeat for the uncommitted. So keep that in mind totally. But yeah, guess what? You got 20 uncommitted delegates on going to the national convention. So good for you. You kind of want to put the dent in the campaign, though. So let's take a look at the Republican primaries. I'm very pessimistic with Donald Trump's results. This is Washington, and Nikki Haley, I don't know if they knew she withdrew, but she almost cranked up 20% of the popular vote. That was not good for Donald Trump. And Donald Trump got around 577,000 people in the said voting in this said primary. Nikki Haley, around 148,000. That's a lot of people. 148,000 people voted for Nikki Haley to kind of protest Donald Trump for being on the. I mean, I would figure that Washington would be one of the states to kind of remove Donald Trump from the ballot if the Supreme Court decision was not struck down, and Colorado and Illinois and Maine would keep Trump off the ballot. I think Washington would eventually take him off. And yes, Washington, I would say, is a mix of neocons, a mix of rhinos, and some MAGA Republicans. I would say more MAGA Republicans live in the the East. I get my directions mixed up, especially with Washington. But yes, more in the east of Washington, more further away from the Cascades. And then closer and closer you get to the Cascades, I think. And even in the west part side of the Cascades, you get more rhinos, especially in the Seattle metro. You'll see over here. Around 50%. This is King County that holds Seattle. This county voted for Nikki Haley around 50%. No, not 50%, but for Trump 50%. Yes, we got to remember Donald Trump won these counties. He also, I believe these areas this is the Olympia area. This would make sense. And then we have some islands over here that are generally, as you know, Democrat. They will vote Democrat because, as you know, sea water. Democrats love it for some reason. But yeah, geographically, you can tell how voters are going to perform. yes, I would prefer this area is definitely strong for Trump and MAGA Republicans. Along with this area, I mean, I said, yeah, usually east of the Cascades, uh, it's more MAGA Republican, but it's not saying that MAGA Republicans can win votes over here. They proved that MAGA Republicans can win votes. Um, but when it comes to the Seattle area, we saw Trump really having a hard time, especially in King County, which has Seattle, and other counties, which have also a lot of big cities, um, and liberal areas. So Washington, not Trump's best. I mean, it's better than Vermont, but we know Vermont is a neocon state, a born neocon state to begin with. So I think it is really what it is. But the good news is that Nikki Haley got no delegates, and it would be embarrassing if she got delegates, and we would be hearing about this in the liberal media for sure. We would hear about this and them saying, "Oh, Nikki Haley picked up delegates while she wasn't even running." Well, yeah, that would be embarrassing. I'm going to admit it. That would be a huge blunder. And a huge victory for the Rhinos, despite Trump clinching the nomination already. But really, if she gets delegates, it really doesn't matter. It's not going to stop Donald Trump from obtaining the nomination, okay? And getting delegates from a withdrawn player that I think is not as bad as getting delegates, 20 delegates for an unlegitimate person, not even a legitimate person, an uncommitted option is over a two-digit number here. 20 delegates to go to the national convention. And the question is, I'm wondering if they're pledged, because if they're not pledged, that means they can go and vote for whatever. But we will see and find out. But anyway, what do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments. As always, I'll see you all in the next political episode.